shores of the Caspian Sea at the gateway of Europe and Asia lies Azerbaijan. Its capital, Baku, a stunning combination of ancient and modern, where tradition and technology meet and embrace. And this vibrant community is the host venue for the 2012 City Challenge. And this is where it will all take place, on the wide boulevards of the bustling downtown seafront area, the Parliament building nestling in the heart of the country's first race circuit. And the crowds have voted with their feet, turning out in their tens of thousands to savour history being made. Already they have witnessed two spectacular races, with supercars tuned for racing powering around the streets of Baku. The second of the encounters was stopped by a massive accident. Well, Jörg Eberhardt lost control of his Corvette on the corner beside the pits and slammed into the concrete barriers. There was a brief flash fire as the fuel lines ignited and the driver's side of the car ground along the concrete wall. Moving those heavy barriers shows the size of the impact. Concrete walls on the street track always ready to trap the unwary. Fortunately, though, Jörg Eberhardt, courtesy of the strength of modern racing cars, was able to climb out unaided and uninjured. But the debris was strewn everywhere. The race was over. City Challenge is a motorsport event like no other. A combination of thrilling races and spectacular on-track action provided by some of the world's best drivers in some of the world's finest supercars. Yet there's more. Away from the track, the event area is a stage for artists, musicians and performers. They serve up a diverse and colourful entertainment programme for the whole family to enjoy, even when the sun goes down. City Challenge, an unforgettable experience for young and old. Well, let's get back down to the circuit now. A chance once more for international motor racing to put on a bit of a show. And for these fans waiting in the grandstands, surrounded by high-rise buildings, they are really going to have their socks blown off in the next few minutes. Azerbaijan has never had a motor racing circuit before, so the only chance most people will have had to watch Formula One will have been on television. That will have done nothing to prepare them for the experience of seeing Grand Prix cars driven on their own city streets. The unbelievable noise of the cars bouncing back from the high-rise buildings lining the circuit, mingling with the speed at such close proximities, just provides a mind-blowing combination. Formula One cars from the 70s to the 90s mingled with younger machinery from GP2 and World Series by Renault on the tight city circuit, adding yet another dimension to City Challenge. Hopefully so. Well, the man who set the fastest lap of the weekend in his 1997 Benetton was Dutchman Marian van Kantot, and he celebrated on the podium in the time-approved style.
Yes, to drive with a Benetton extra channel lazy from 97 through the streets of Baku with 234 k's an hour is amazing.
Well, there's no question that they will have a new view of what Formula One cars look like and especially sound like after those demonstrations here in Azerbaijan. The tight twists and turns of the City Challenge track in Baku are not only reserved for street racing veterans. Between the races, celebrities and VIP guests are given their chance to don professional racing gear and take in the spectacular circuit at breakneck speeds.
It's going to be very fun. 290 kilometers.
Yeah, I would like to go like this.
No stranger to high-speed car chases, former Bond villain Rick Yun and German actress Wilma Els are put through their paces, along with well-known entrepreneur Ahad Purkanga. The City Challenge offering a taxi ride like no other.
At the beginning I was very, very afraid. My heart was beating like crazy.
Exhilarating.
The first 2 laps to get used to it. The G-forces, especially on the City Challenge course, is quite strong.
Yeah, this is the first time in Baku.
So highly
But it is
awesome.
not the last time. And I hope we see you every year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, after that, perhaps a chance to sit down and take a breather or mingle with some of the drivers, like Formula One world champion and Indy 500 winner Jacques Villeneuve.
No, because we're starting a little bit.
A world champion in an unfamiliar location. The fire still burns strongly when it comes to Jacques Villeneuve. With the eyes of the world watching, he's ready for the challenge of driving on the streets of Baku.
I've always enjoyed street courses. It's tricky. The margin for error is very small and it's normal roads, so it's bumpy in places, so you have to deal with that, where on a normal road course would probably not be accepted. So it makes it fun. You just have to readapt your way of thinking about a racetrack and a race car. And also you go to nice cities. I mean, this is the first one, and I was very curious about Baku. And I'm very positively surprised. It's an amazing city.
In an illustrious career, the Canadians achieved what very few drivers have managed, winning both the Indy 500 and Formula One World Championships.
It's been a long career so far, yeah, it's been many years. I did a few touring car races when I was, I think I was 17, yeah. And then I went straight into Formula 3 in Italy for 3 years. Then moved to Japan for 1 year, then North America, Atlantics, IndyCar, won the Indy 500, which is the biggest race in the world. You know, to win that was amazing, and that's what opened the door to get into Formula One. And we ended up winning the championship, which is why I started racing in the first place. That's why I love racing. That's why I still enjoy taking the risks, making the sacrifices, and putting everything on the line. This is a one-off race now for everyone to get the series going. Everybody wants to have a good time and to do a good show. Everybody wants this to be a success, basically.
Well, we are fast approaching time for the main event here at City Challenge 2012. Well, let's take a look at what faces the drivers. 2.2 kilometres of narrow city streets, bumping, undulating, surrounded by concrete walls, and 16 turns to negotiate. It's going to be fast and furious. Cars on the grid surrounded by their drivers and crews. Children in traditional outfits, all the colour, the pomp and the ceremony of any major international motor race. But this one is going to be very tough. McLaren, BMW, that's how they line up. And as the lights change, the BMW of Frank Ketchler looking for the lead of the race, but from pole, the silver and black McLaren of Fred Machiavici taking the advantage. BMW's Jelmer Berman third, ahead of Rob Bell in the second McLaren, and again, everybody safely through the tight bottleneck of the first corners and onto the streets. 60 minutes lie in front of them, a compulsory pit stop for every team. And the co-drivers watching on the TV monitors in their garages can only hope that the car survives until they get a chance to play their part. And that on these city streets is by no means guaranteed. Machiavici making the best of pole position, immediately jumping into the lead. And right behind him, the two BMWs jockeying for position, with McLaren, Ferrari and Porsche giving chase. A great start in the number 9 Porsche by amateur driver Karim Al-Azari has taken him from 8th on the grid into 6th position, right on the tail of the leaders. And immediately the BMWs are letting the McLaren escape as they fight each other for second spot. Frank Ketchler has Jelmer Berman right behind, and it seems that the turquoise and black car with the yellow mirrors is the quicker of the two. Berman wants to get by, particularly as Rob Bell's McLaren is right behind him. Late afternoon sunshine, hot conditions for the drivers and for the cars, but the onboard view shows calm and serenity at the wheel that belies the speed of these machines around tight city streets. Well, each of the drivers, when it comes to the pit stop, will hand over to their teammate who will take on a fresh set of tyres. So there's no need to preserve the life of these Hancooks. Everybody using the same supplied rubber and everybody then in the same boat. They can charge hard right from the beginning. And with his headlights flashing, that's what the young Russian in the Lukoil Mercedes is doing. Sergei Afanassiev trying to force his way up into the top half dozen, with his teammate Mike Parisi right behind. But the McLaren is stretching its legs out front. Fred Machiavici won his sprint race from pole at a canter. An early pit call, and this is bad news for the Molitor Racing Porsche. Felipe Fernandez-Lazer in after just a couple of minutes. He's going to have to wait another 23 before he's allowed to change drivers. Battle on between the two Mercedes teams, Afanassiev and the white and blue car of Mike Parisi, his more experienced teammate. Of course, Afanassiev's co-driver Bernd Schneider won't thank the Russian if he loses ground. The DTM champion is looking to finish on the podium. He's one of the favourites for victory still, but can they pull it off from outside the top half dozen? And what about the BMWs? The battle seems to have settled down. McLaren out front, Ketchler safe in second. And Parisi in the white and blue Mercedes is looking for a way by. They're being slightly held up by the fast-starting Porsche of Karim Al-Azari, and Parisi makes his way through. Afanassiev letting him go and hoping to follow the faster Mercedes past the Porsche. And that's good, sensible driving in a one-hour race with no chance to make a mistake. Well, this is the only safe way of swapping positions between teammates. Afanassiev leaves plenty of room for Parisi to go by. Now there seems little chance of the turquoise and blue BMWs performing a similar move. Frank Ketchler pulling away now from Jelmer Berman, second and third, as Rob Bell drops back, nursing a gearbox that was repaired after a morning warm-up failure. Ketchler chasing the McLaren, makes a mistake, just wide to the wall. Here's an opportunity. Jelmer Berman all over the back of his teammate. Couldn't bump his way by. Ketchler so close to disaster. Well, both BMWs lucky to survive that encounter. And their teammates can breathe again. Matthias Lauda getting ready to take over his car. Pit stop window opens after 25 minutes of the race, closes after 35. Each car must come in, change driver and tyres. And here is the battle for 7th place. Karim Al-Azari will hand over his white Porsche to Sean Edwards, and Sergei Afanassiev wriggles out and then helps in teammate Bernd Schneider as they swap over in the Mercedes. In comes Jacques Villeneuve. Steering wheel off, seatbelts undone, seat pushed back, and try and wriggle out of the tiny door wearing all your safety gear, and then allow your teammate to try and get in and help him do up those belts. It should be so easy just to get in and out of a car, but with all the racing safety gear, it's the work of a real gymnast. Well, Villeneuve and Verstappen's car in sight of a top half dozen finish, and the team performing the tyre change. Just 2 men are allowed to do it, to change all 4 wheels and tyres, and they must spend at least 75 seconds in the pit road between coming in and going out, and that is why Verstappen is having to wait. Safety time has been completed, but not all pit stops go safely. There's the 36 Ferrari at the side of the track. Looks like the left rear wheel was not attached properly, and he is out of the race. There's Jelmer Berman taking a swig of water. Now, great pit work when his car stopped. They've now moved up into second ahead of their teammates, but it is still the number 17 McLaren that leads the race. Stef Dusseldorp has taken over from starting driver Fred Machiavici, and the youngster has got a lot to live up to. Will the BMWs catch him in the closing stages? And what about the sister McLaren? Rob Bell handed over to Alvaro Parent, and Parent is the fastest man on track until slowing dramatically. A repeat of the gearbox problem from the morning has sidelined them with less than a quarter of an hour left to run. Parent had got up to second and now drops right down the order. A penalty as well for Matteo Bobi for pit lane speeding, but there's more going wrong with the car, and the pit lane penalty is the final straw. They're going to withdraw from the race. Into the final 10 minutes then, another couple of cars down. It's a tough business racing on the bumpy street circuits. It breaks engines and transmissions, and there is another one. That is the Conrad Porsche of Michael Christensen. He's parked between two corners, well off the racing line, but the car is stranded. Now, the safety car has been scrambled with less than 10 minutes to go. How will this affect the race? All the cars close up behind the safety car as the Porsche is rescued, and they get ready to restart with just a handful of laps remaining. The sun is fast sinking towards the horizon, and the end of the City Challenge is in sight, but the winner has yet to be decided. Will it be the McLaren, or will the BMWs have a chance to reply? Here we go, restarting, and Dusseldorp jumps away. He's got a couple of slower cars between himself and the BMWs, and that's all the opportunity he needs. The Porsche that was second in the queue is a lap down, and there's a Ferrari as well behind. The BMWs are going to struggle to get by. They've made it on the pit straight, but they have lost a lot of ground to the leader. His gap as big after the safety car as it was before. The Mercedes are trying to get by the Ferrari as well. Oh, and contact further back. Sean Edwards turns around the white and blue car. Maximilian Buch sideways. And Villeneuve is watching as his car inherits a place. Last lap for Stef Dusseldorp. Fred Machiavici started from pole, handed over a leading car, and Dusseldorp has done everything he could. He's opened up his advantage, dealt with the safety car superbly, and is romping to victory as the clock runs down to 0. He will take the checkered flag at the end of the final lap of the City Challenge 2012. The McLaren has dominated here, and it is a worthy victory for the Hexis teams. Fred Machiavici and Stef Dusseldorp as they become the first overall winners of the City Challenge. Second and third for BMW, a whisker ahead of the Mercedes. Well, there is the finishing order, although Sean Edwards will later be penalised for knocking the Mercedes sideways and drop back down the order outside 5th position. But congratulations all round in the Vita 4-1 team of BMWs and at Hexis McLaren. They come out triumphant here on the streets of Baku. The crowd applaud and the teams welcome their drivers. We're not worthy. Well, yes, they are. It is a team performance in sports car racing. Drivers, engineers, mechanics all play their part in success or failure. Ben Schneider with a thumbs up to his crew. A good, strong finish from the Mercedes driver. Another lap, and he might well have been on the podium. He was coming hard at the end. Hard work too for Stef Dusseldorp, the tall Dutchman sweating after his exertions, but any pain is instantly forgotten.
sure it's fantastic to win this race, especially the first race of City Challenge in the middle of Baku. The spirit of the race is incredible. We are really happy. Exis did again an amazing job, and my teammate, and we are really happy of this result.
Well, there is the result as they crossed the line, but the 5th place Porsche was penalised for knocking the Mercedes out of the way. Mike Parisi and Max Buch were pushed back up to 5th, and the Porsche down to 6th position. Not bad though, considering they also had a pit lane speeding penalty. Well, time now for the event organiser Hartmut Bayer to present the winners with their trophies. And the City Challenge 2012 can undoubtedly be voted an overwhelming success. The teams and drivers have loved it, and the welcome and hospitality and enthusiasm of the crowd has swept them away. Time then to let their hair down for the drivers and the teams, a rare moment of relaxation in a race weekend to enjoy the sights and sounds of Baku by night. From City Challenge 2012, it is good night and goodbye.